The Biden administration forced to come clean on how their progressive green agenda is actually benefiting China. Biden's Interior Secretary grilled on how the president's policies block domestic production of critical minerals, creating a dependency on the communist nation.
63% of rare earth mining will stipulate to it. Okay. By deductive reasoning, that would mean that electric vehicles and renewables deepen our reliance on China, correct?
Yes.
Is it your policy that critical minerals should be sourced from countries that are stewards of the environment, like the U.S. and our allies, or sourced from Russia and China that don't share our same values?
The president is committed
Pretty much a yes and no. It's your policy, madam.
Our policy is to work to make sure we have the best.
I'll take that as a maybe.
Trump's. And Senator Joe Manchin is not staying quiet on all of this. The moderate Democrat says Biden betrayed him by twisting the Inflation Reduction Act to push climate policies, saying this: the administration is attempting at every turn to implement the bill it wanted, not the bill Congress actually passed. But Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says Manchin's claims cannot be true because we all have electric cars.
Everything that we do in this administration conforms to the law as written, as passed by Congress, and as signed by the president. Of course, we're in constant dialogue with partners in Congress who have shaped this legislation. The way that the administration is advancing this is designed to ensure that we have economic security, that, for example, the electric vehicle revolution is a made in America electric vehicle revolution that benefits American workers and creates American jobs.
Jessica, I just want to point this out while they're touting, we have EVs. Biden's own energy agency right now is predicting that EVs will be only 10% of the global car market by the year 2050.
Oh, God.
So this is not happening fast. They're not popular. We're not there yet, and we have to admit that. But isn't it natural to ask the question, if we make this major push to electric vehicles in this country, okay, that means a major push for batteries for those EVs. And that means a major push for lithium. 70 to 75% of all that lithium comes from China. So by pushing EVs, aren't we increasing our dependency on China?
As the Interior Secretary said,
yes.
There should have been a follow-up to it, I think, at least on a policy standpoint, to say that although we do have to work with China on a number of issues, and that's true of any administration, no matter their politics, unless you want to fully isolate from them. A lot of companies are going to be mad at you, the Nikes of the world, the Apples of the world, what's the NBA going to do, et cetera. But there should be, I think, some movement towards saying we're going to give a little on this, right? Allow more of our own natural resources to be mined here, and understand that there is an environmental cost to that, to make sure that we can lower our dependence on China for that.
What's the difference if the environmental cost is in China or here?
Well, America first, right? If you're protecting Americans' airspace over, I mean, that's what this is, right? To say, okay, well, China's getting dirtier, and that's less of our problem than if the United States is getting dirtier, the air that we're breathing here. That's the argument that every country is making about their own policies, no?
Global.
Well, yes, of course, but what's...
Okay, but go ahead with your point.
I think I made it. I thought it was a decent one. Okay. Also, Joe Manchin had more control over the Inflation Reduction Act than any single person. These are crocodile tears at this point. He signed up on every single word of it. Is completely disingenuous for him to say that he was duped.
Breaking news, because for once I agree with half of what Pete Buttigieg said about Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin saying that he got duped about the Inflation Reduction Act when at the time it was being passed, it was clear and evident in the text that it was the biggest Green New scam giveaway in the history of the country. And he signed right onto it because he wanted to appease Joe Biden. And then he goes back to West Virginia and his poll numbers tank. So then all of a sudden now he's against the Inflation Reduction Act, which he voted for, which he went to the White House to tout after he voted for it. I'm sick of him, and he might lose re-election. We'll see. In terms of this push for electric vehicles, they keep selling this like it's green, clean energy. Ryan Zinke, who's the former Interior Secretary, pointed out today that in order to get this EV dream, they have to increase mining by 2,000% for the next 20 years. And emissions is the only standard that they're judging the environment by. So they say an electric car doesn't give off emissions. Well, it gives off a lot of emissions when you're mining to build those electric cars. And it's a false, bogus standard, which is going to result in actually more detrimental policies for the environment.
You're making too much sense, Katie.
This is a big cash transfer from the taxpayers to big corporate America. And Joe Biden's just the middleman. Doesn't have anything to do with the environment. It's all about money. We're doing this all in third world countries. We're doing it all in China with slave labor, with child labor. And the country and the world doesn't get any greener. And that's the point. The only green is going into the pockets of corporate America. They're making green products that we all of a sudden need to buy. Why do we need to buy them? Because the government's now mandating they're produced. Manchin is an idiot. He's confessing that he got outmaneuvered by Joe Biden. How embarrassing. I'm so sick of him. Why is he so annoying? Joe Manchin had the whole country like this in his hand for about a year and a half. And then he folded, and now he's whining. Yeah. Sorry, Joe, I don't feel sorry for you. You got lied to by Joe Biden. Get in line. The salsa maker, Deb Haaland, she's in charge of the Interior. She's also a basket weaver and probably the dumbest woman in the cabinet, and that's saying a lot, has no idea the type of rare earth minerals we're sitting here in this country. She doesn't even care. She's an Indian American. That's why she was put at Interior. She shatters. So what? And now corporate America tells her what to do. They're putting windmills owned by foreign countries 15 miles off our entire East Coast. Does that sound smart to you? Well, what happens if a German company owns all of the real estate off of New Jersey and then Germany's not our friend anymore? Well, when's the last time that happened? Oh, maybe last century. It's the dumbest thing from a national security standpoint I've ever seen. And the fact that Joe Biden doesn't see that tells me he's too old.
You know what? It was just last week, Jen Granholm, the energy secretary under this administration, she doubled down on her praise for China.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why is this administration not trying to move away from dealings with China?
I have a theory, but first I have to defend Ryan Zinke. I like the way he talks. It reminds me of a mysterious stranger from the X-Files. He just needs to have a cigarette dangling out of his mouth. A green USA helps red China for obvious reasons because it slams our economic growth while bolstering theirs. It's basically what you would call climate equity. Right? It's like we tamp down our economy because we're bad boys while lifting theirs. So we all meet at the same crummy, horrible level. But it's so interesting. Why does the American left and China always seem to be on the same side? Whether it's the stars of the NBA or the heartless Sonny Hostin who defended the imprisonment of Uyghurs on The View. I doubt their audience knew what the Uyghurs were.
She thought they were in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but why? I mean, but why this alignment? It's because they both kind of share the same goal, which is to strip away the moral authority of America around the world. The woke's goal is to punish America permanently. That helps China. This is why China helps fund and support specific companies that are woke, that have ESG in DEI or DIE, because they create the same desired outcomes, which is a weak nation, America, that is at war with itself. That is why wokeism is, China loves wokeism more than the wokesters even realize.
Drop the mic, okay?
Oh, thank you.
No, very good, very good. Very good all around. Very good. Jessica.
Once you figured out that I'd made a point, I think it really took off.
That was it for me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.